video on how to scale burpees. So let's first deconstruct the movement, look at the shapes and the transfer between those shapes, and then talk about a second aspect of the movement that is the purpose, and then we'll talk about how to scale it. So let's deconstruct a burpee. Burpee starts with a flat body, flat at the top. Second shape of the burpee is to go into a global flexion, right? So if I go down here, my spine is fully flexed, probably my legs are gonna be a little bit flexed, and then I'm gonna go into a flat position again. So I jump the feet back, flat, right? And then from here, I'm gonna do a little bit of an extension of the back, not that much, and then flexion again, flat. So it's basically flat, flexion, right? With a tiny extension there on the middle. But that is what we want. So we want you to be able to transfer your body weight from flat to flexion again to flat. Flat at the top, flat at the bottom. If you look at the physics of the thing, what we're doing is transferring your center of mass from standing to as close to the ground as possible and back up. That's a lot of work. Good. That is it. The burpee is a simple movement. In terms of what we're looking for, the second aspect that I was talking at the beginning is we want the burpee to have very high metabolic demands. And so that means that I want my athletes when performing burpees to be able to go through these shapes confidently, but also at a good cadence, right? Like slow burpees are not going to have the same metabolic demands that a little bit more continuous burpees. I don't need fast burpees, I just need continuous burpees. And so what you will see is that the burpee, because it looks so simple and honestly you just have to go to the ground and back up, most people will not think about even scaling it, right? But you will see that a lot of people, way more people than you think, has a lot of problems in the burpees in two areas: flexibility and strength, which combine mixed mobility, right? And so sometimes they don't have the range of motion, sometimes they have the range of motion but they don't have the strength for that range of motion. So in summary, they don't have the mobility. And so you will see that like many athletes, this part is just really hard, right? Like that global flexion. So they have to compensate somehow by like doing first this and then this. And as you saw there, I lost that flexion already, right? I didn't get to that part at all. It was really a negative lunge. And then some people will have a lot of trouble also in this part here, in which they had to jump, and what you see is a lot of this kind of thing, or going on the toes, or again that flexion is missing, right? And so they can definitely get the reps, they can get the standard, but they're so inefficient in their movement that the movement becomes very slow, and at the end it becomes a drag. And instead of getting 10 repetitions per minute, they end up getting 5 and having to break. And so we lose a little bit, not only the shapes of the movement, but we also lose the metabolic demands. But just because it looks like most people think that a burpee is a busy work, right? Like it's just a movement there, just to like jack up your heart rate and make you puke or something like that. We don't think about scaling it, but we should. And the burpee is actually very easy to scale. And the best way to do it is with using a box. So the box is gonna help with both the strength demands and the metabolic demands of the thing, right? And the flexibility demands of the thing. So if you look at a burpee with the box, I'm just gonna mimic the same positions that I was just in. So I'm gonna start right here. I'm not in full flexion, but I'm actually flexing my spine, and so it's just the same step of a burpee from the ground, right? So that is awesome. And then I'm gonna jump back, I'm flat again, and I can go flat on the box, right? And then I can do the same as if I were on the ground. I'm gonna do a shitty push-up or a push-up from the knees, and then jump, and I'm back to this flex position, and then I stand up. Period. You found your exact same shapes of the burpee on the ground here. How are we aiding these things? First, I am shortening the flexibility demands a little bit. Here, right? From here, and also from this jump. And second, my center of mass is not going all the way to the ground. It's going a little bit, it's not this height is just a little bit lower, but it's not going all the way to the ground. And so I'm decreasing the work capacity aspect of it. But this will allow most of my athletes to have a way higher cadence and would have a way better metabolic stimulus, and it will allow them to move the way I want to. It's also a very good way to scale because it allows you to go a little bit lower and lower, right? And so this is actually high for most athletes. Most athletes don't need this much height, and so you can play with the height depending on the workouts and the number of reps, and you can keep those athletes, teach those athletes to move, and teach those athletes. Remember that when you have an athlete, you want to practice what you want to enhance, and so if you put him or her in a skill that is too hard, and they can only do very slow burpees, that's what they're gonna get good at doing very, very slow burpees. If you actually wanna get them to do better burpees, just aid them a little so that they can actually do more burpees per minute, right? And so, with time, just make sure that you're decreasing the height, and so that you're increasing a little bit the demands there. But yeah, the burpee box is an awesome scaling. You can do it with plates for sure. And you all you need to do is have a talk with your athletes, explain this very well. This is gonna be very challenging for most athletes to understand why you would want to scale a burpee. You can actually make tests in your warm-ups. I have done this before with athletes, and it's very informative for them. I tell them to do 1 burpee per minute, like 1 minute of burpees on the ground and 1 minute of burpees on the box, and we calculate the amount of work performed in that time and that hour, and they're in that minute, and they're like, well, the box burpees was way worse. I did a lot more, and and so you have to also create the context for them to understand what you're doing. And make sure that you're challenging yourself there. Also, super good modification for when you're doing burpee box jump overs. So here, box, right, rear right there. So it's very useful. That is it. Find your shapes. Flat at the top, flat at the bottom. That is it. Have fun.